Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel Kiwi Bushcraft and Survival, and I thought I'd do a quick video on breaking in the Buck Edgetek Ultra sharpening rod. Okay, so you need at least 2 to 3 blunt knives to break it in, and that's what I'm going to do today. So I started to do it on my last video when I was doing a bit of an unboxing demo, and but the piece of paper, the paper I was using was pretty crap, and I grabbed some other paper. The other paper just didn't do it any justice, so I thought I'd do one on here real quickly. Okay, so let's just bring this down a bit into here. Okay. So I grabbed another knife, okay, and I'll show you. This is quite blunt. All right, we'll go from here. All right, so it's cutting through. It's cutting. So it is sort of cutting occasionally. Okay, so it is cutting occasionally. Alright, so it's quite blunt. Right, so let's start off on the course side. I won't go into about it, but it's got 3 courses, 325, 750, and the 1200 grit. So let's start off on the 325 first. So how you do this is completely up to you. On my unboxing video, I covered a little bit about, you know, the options for using this, like so. I mean, you could lean it down and do it as well. It's completely up to you how you want to do it. I think the steadier it is, the better. But this is how I do it. This is just my second time using this. And as I said, you need to break it in at least 2 or 3 knives sharpening it. So you want to use a little bit of pressure, but not too much. We don't want to be ripping the diamond surface off. I mean, this blade here, the metal, pretty much any metal, okay, well, literally any metal cannot cut through the diamond. The diamond is sharper than metal, or should I say diamond is harder than metal. Okay, so this will not be able to damage the diamond surface. It won't be able to damage the diamonds, should I say, on the surface, but it certainly will. The metal could still cut into the diamond and rip the diamonds out off the surface of the rod, if that makes any sense. Okay, because the diamonds will be glued on, or somehow they'll be attached to this rod, and we don't want to be pulling those diamonds off. So we want to do it, you know, with enough to be cutting into the blade without ripping the diamonds off the rod. You can hear it. Just check that. It doesn't feel very sharp, but it will be cutting into it. Completely up to you how you want to use the actual I'm just going to try that now. I should use a rag to wipe any potential burrs off it as well. Alright, let's try that now. Down this end. Yeah, this paper does it more justice. That last was a little bit of a catch there. Still catching a little bit. Remember, this is only on 325 coarse grit, so it's still grabbing a little bit, but it's a lot better. Okay, and that was probably, I don't know, a couple of minutes. So let's go to, and normally it would be a good idea to do this for probably about, I don't know, 20 minutes. You know, 20 minutes, maybe half an hour, to confirm you're getting a good profile of the bevel of the knife. Okay, but we'll move to the next one anyway, just to speed the video up a little bit. And so this time we're going to the 750 medium grit. Okay, medium grit. And you can hear for yourself it's not cutting in as much. Okay, we don't want to do it too hard. We don't want to do it too light either. That last bit of paper, if you watch my video, I used my Bushcraft survival knife on the paper, and it wasn't even doing very good justice on that paper. And my Bushcraft survival knife, I've sharpened that to where it's razor sharp, and it's cutting hairs off the arm. But that paper was horrible. I think it was just wet from the, it was damp, slightly dampish coming out of the letterbox. Recently we've had quite a bit of rain here in New Zealand. We're in the middle of winter. And so what we're doing here with this 750 medium course is we're just trying to make it a little bit sharper, okay, the blade, alright? And basically, when we use the coarse side, that'll be putting lots of scratches on the blade. And this 750 we're just basically trying to take those scratches out of the off the blade, okay, off the bevel, which is, the bevel is the part that cuts, okay, it's the part that cuts, that's the sharp part. And we're trying to take all the scratches off that part of the blade. And obviously, as you take the scratches off, and at the same time when you're taking those scratches off, we're refining the actual cutting edge of the blade as well. The good thing about this is that it's actually oval shaped, so it's just like using a rounded sharpening rod, except it's oval. But you're able to achieve the same goal with it. Okay, let's try that out. Let's just make a little bit of a grabbed a little bit there, but that was more me not holding onto the paper. Not holding onto the paper. You could strop the knife at this point, you know. We could strop it. But we haven't yet. That was just tearing it. That's cutting. That's cutting. So that'll still cut. It's not perfect. I can feel it. It's probably, from what it was, I'd say 3 times better, if not 4 times better, the sharpness of that. I'm not going to strop it yet. What we're going to do is we're going to go to the fine coarse side now, okay, which is 1200. So the 1200 is going to, and obviously with the 750 medium side, I would have done that a lot longer, okay, probably again another 20 minutes maybe, you know, 15-20 minutes, to make sure that any scratches are really out of it, okay. But now we're going to go to the 1200 because I'm just rushing this, all right. And 1200, we want to start. It's fine, really fine tuning that the blade now, and we're almost getting into honing. Well, we're starting to get into the honing side of the blade, where we're starting to polish the bevel, okay. Just moving the rod around a little bit just to try and, I'm still trying to get a feel for this. Once I get a good feel for it, I'll be away. Doesn't take too long to get a feel for something, and obviously you'll be able to speed it up and everything else. So basically, if you're in the bush and you are using your knife and it starts to, you feel it's not cutting right, you might go to the 750, okay? Just give it a bit of a touch up there, and you can carry on cutting. You might give it a little bit of a touch up, a few strikes on the 750, you know, you might do a few on the 1200, okay? And away you go again, all right? You might even just come straight to the 1200 every now and again, just give it a real nice touch up on the 1200, and away you go, you're cutting, and you just keep your knife razor sharp all the time. And you should never really have to go down to the 325 coarse grit unless your knife gets really blunt, okay. Or you lose your knife and you manage to find another knife and it's blunt as, okay, and then you're going to grab out, start using the 325 coarse first, okay. Your knife, you might lose it, it might get completely damaged and unusable, okay, so you might have to find another knife and sharpen it up, alright, from wherever, okay. But I think just taking out a medium coarse, as in, you know, 750, 800, all on its own, is not really a good idea. The 1200 here that we're using is a bonus. Okay, this is a bonus. This is like polishing to really fine tuning that edge. You can do it like this, say 5 on this side, 5 on this side. It's up to you how you want to do it. I like doing one and then another one because I can find the, I don't know, I just find the edge a bit better this way. You don't want to push too hard. Remember, you don't want to push too hard. Alright. Let's try that out. Yeah, that's nice. You can just feel it. It's quite tough paper, but the other paper was just damp. It's tearing there. Go on an angle now. Grab a bit of a couple more on here, I think. And the way to clean this off when I'm finished would be just to get a little bit of water, okay, and rinse it off, okay, just to clean out any burrs within the, any metal in between the diamond, okay, or just get a rag and wipe it off. Always find the last few, if you just do it lightly. Let's just drop it a little bit here. I'm not using any compound. Get on camera. Should be able to see that. And this is just a piece of leather belt, okay? Just an old belt I bought from the warehouse years ago that fell apart on me, and I just cut it up into some pieces. All right, let's grab a new piece. All right, let's see how this goes now, eh? Grabbing there in the middle. Yeah, it's grabbing a little bit in the middle. I'll go down a bit. You can just feel it just grabbing just there. Yeah, that's why it's catching. Just here where my fingernail is, there's a chip in there. There's a chip. Big chip just there. That's why it was grabbing. Alright, so I'd have to, that's why she's grabbing every now and again. But I'd have to get the 320, because it's got a chip in it there, and this is probably a good point that we found this. Because I've got a chip in it there, I'd have to go back to the 325, right, the 325 grit, and really start cutting that bit out, alright, to get that chip out of the blade. Okay, I probably should have checked the blade before I started doing this, but I didn't. I'm just doing it randomly. Okay, but I can feel it. Okay, so, but certainly the knife is a lot better. But I'd have to get that out with the 325. I'm not going to do it now because it would probably take about, I'd say, half an hour to get that piece out. Feel it, then move on to the 750, then move on to the 1200, and should be fine. Give it a bit of a strop. I could strop it with a bit of compound as well. That'll shine the bevel up a bit better as well. But yeah, let's try this out on here and see if the other top part is fine. Yeah, okay. I don't know if this will cut or not. No, that's not sharp enough yet. Let's do a little bit more. See if I can get some of that thing out. It's right in the middle there. This will be a good test for it anyway. Feel that metal coming off. For those of you that use carbide or carbide tungsten cutters, I don't really like them, but this would be an opportunity now where you just really cut that metal off to get this chip out of the blade. Now these blades here, this is not a high-end knife or anything like that. It's just a piece of crap knife that I've grabbed out of the kitchen. And of course, I don't really like sharpening the knives in the kitchen because everybody just makes them blunt again. They don't help keep them sharp. It's got a nick there where my it's got a nick there, goes in about 1 millimeter, I'd say. It's got another one there, 1, 2, 4, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Couple of real small ones towards the end, so it's pretty munted, this blade. It's probably take me about a good half an hour to do this. I probably should have checked it first, but oh well, never mind. So this is, anyway, rather than me spending half an hour doing this or whatever, with the 325 course, it might take me, I don't know, 20 minutes, half an hour to get those chips out of this blade. There's about at least 4 decent sized ones and a few other, 2 or 3 other a lot smaller ones in it towards the tip. It would take me probably a half an hour, I'd say, easily to get those out with the 325. If I was trying to do that with the 750, okay, which is the size grit that a lot of people are starting to carry, and they're only carrying that 750, 800, the higher the grit, the longer it's going to take to get those out. It might take an hour and a half, maybe, you know, an hour and a half to get those out, okay, maybe longer, all right. So time consuming wise, if you want to get those things out and have this thing cutting fast, a lot faster, you want a lower grit. Okay, that's where the 325 comes in. And then once that's done, we move on to the 750, tidy it up even more, and then move on to the 1200. I think the review, well, not really the review, but the breaking in of this would have been a lot better if I'd actually checked it. But it doesn't matter. It's actually all good to just do things naturally and not plan things. Just do it as it is. Okay. Okay. So the way to clean this would be, as I said, run it under water. Get all the actual fibres, bits of steel out from between the diamond, on the diamond surface there, and then dry it off. Make sure it's fully dry, otherwise it's going to rust. Okay, especially with this particular type. I haven't done it yet, haven't cleaned it yet, but in between each course there's a gap here, and that could rust in there quite easily. It could hold the water, so you've got to make sure you're cleaning that properly. Yeah, let's do this just a little bit more. Okay, you could use, I could use a, I do have some lower course, I do have some lower grit stones going down to at least 120 what I could use to get this out. But if you're in the field, if you're in the bush, you've only got what you carry, okay? And so if you don't have a base camp or something like that, you've only got what you carry. Now the good thing about this is if you do something and you chip your axe or your tomahawk, or you chip your machete, or you even chip your knife on something, a rock or whatever, not intentionally, but it happens. You've got something, you've got a course there, you've got a coarse stone, all right, or rod that you can sharpen it with. Okay, get that chip out, or it might be somebody else's knife. All right, out in the bush, they might have a knife and they're trying to sharpen it on the 750 and it's just not happening because it's just not coarse enough. All right, they need something a little more coarse. They've let their knife blade go. All right, go blunt. All right, blunt. Okay, and you just need a coarser thing on you to do it. So this is part of the reason why I got this. Went for this is because it's got the 3 different size grits, and I think it's a good ratio. 325, then 750, then 1200. Okay. I'm pushing in a little bit harder now, but I don't want to go too hard. Okay, you don't want to go too hard. As I said, you can start to, you might rip out those diamond surface, and you don't want to do that. Okay, especially when you're like breaking this in. Okay, it will chew off a little bit of stuff on it, of the surface when you first start breaking the knife in, or breaking the sharpening rod in. I'm just going to feel that now. Okay. It's really rough down this end. Really rough. Still got a little bit of a nick in there, but most of it's gone. Another nick. A few nicks up the end. Not as bad. Not as bad. Okay, if I was doing that just on a 750, that would be taking me way longer. Okay. And it's all about time. Time in the bush. You don't have time to muck around with things. If you've got lots of jobs to do, like fishing and hunting and trapping and repairing things, shelter, fire, you know, you've got lots and lots of stuff to do. You don't want to be sitting there all day sharpening a knife on a 750, 800 grit. Okay, there is another option though. You could use a stone. Okay, find a stone that has around about 325 grit or 300 grit or even 100 grit stone. Okay, you can do that, but in fact you can do that for any size grit. You could find a stone, well, I shouldn't say a stone, I mean I should say a rock. You should be able to find a rock that has that surface that you can cut into the knife. Okay, but in saying that, you got to then spend the time to go looking for the the right stone or rocks, okay, the right rocks, okay, and you've got to make sure that you can find a bit of a surface on there to actually do this, what we're doing now, okay. You don't want to be doing more damage to the knife, but when you're carrying this, you don't have to go looking for a rock. If I needed something that was a lot rougher, I'd have to find a rock, okay, to really get these notches out of this off this blade. Let's check that out. Still, that's better. It's still catching up around this end now, okay, but it feels more like scratches, the scratches from the coarse thing. Still catching around the tip a little bit, but I think we're almost ready to move on to the next one. I might be rushing it a bit, but hey, I don't want to be here all day. Alright, let's move on to the second one. 750. I don't actually have any amounts of times that I do this. You should do the same amount of times that you do on each side, but I just vary it. If I want to do 3, then I'll do 3, then I might just do 1, then I might go to 5, right. It just depends. I don't know. I just feel it. Just do what feels natural. Okay, I can still feel it cutting in, but nowhere near as much as the coarse side, obviously. Now, it would have been a lot faster if I didn't have any chips in the blade, but hey, that's a good thing. We get to see how this baby works. It's certainly doing its job, I can feel it. Alright, let's just... Still real bouncy on this far end, on the far end of the blade here. Alright, it's not as bad, but certainly grabbing out those... Still quite a few scratches on this end. That's probably part of the reason why it was grabbing a little bit on the paper. But it is disappearing. I'm just trying to work that part out. To get rid of those where it's catching. When you go to slice that paper, if it's got catching there, it's gonna catch onto the paper. Okay. Still catching, but not as bad. So all I'm doing when I'm checking that is I'm just getting my thumbnail and I'm just running it along the blade. Okay, and I'm just trying to find any nicks in it. Okay, because any of those nicks are going to catch. Okay, it doesn't take much to catch on the fibres of the paper here. All right, got to be careful doing it. You can actually get a tool that will you run along the blade, and it will actually, you run it along the blade, a tool, and it'll show you where the imperfections are, where the nicks are. Okay, and that will catch onto it. Okay, but that's all good if you're at home. But if you're out carrying a pack, you're carrying all your gear, you're not going to carry something like that. Just use your fingernail or your thumbnail. Okay, whatever you prefer. Alright, just use that and do the same thing. Just be careful and you won't cut yourself. Oh, I like this oval. It's so good. I've always preferred using a steel rod to a stone, and the reason being is a stone you've got to get down and you've got to find a flat spot, and you got to get right down there on the stone, and you can bump your hand into things and all kinds of stuff. It's just annoying. Then you've got to find a place to sit down and do it, or get on your knees and do the stone. With this here, with something like the rod here, alright, you could do this sitting down, you could do this kneeling, you could do it standing. You certainly can't use a stone standing as such unless you put it up high, but you can do this anywhere. You don't need a branch of a tree or a log, or you just pull this out anywhere and away you go, you know. And that's what I like about a steel rod. A steel rod beats a stone any day, you know. How I could sharpen this knife lying on my back. I could sharpen the knife in the middle of a river if I wanted to. Not that I'm going to, but I could. Okay, you can't do that with a stone. Alright, and that's the beauty about a rod, is you can do it anywhere. Okay, you don't have to be pulling a freaking stone out, and that's why I've gone down the pathway of a rod. Once you get the feel of it, you're good. Okay, just get yourself a cheap rod and just practice first, get used to it, and I guarantee you, once you've got it down pat, you'll prefer to carry out a rod with you rather than a stone. Now that's starting to feel better. Right, it's still grabbing at the end here. So it's still grabbing. It's going to take a while to do this. I'm going to move on to the next one now. Right, to the 1200 anyway. I'm going to move on to that and just see how we go. Right. I'm going to move on to it anyway. I would stay on that 750 a lot longer, but let's just see how we go. Those main nicks are gone, the main chips out of the blade are gone, and it's more just smaller ones now. About that, my card was full, so we're on the last grit. 12 yeah, I'll move this camera up a bit. Come up a little bit there and zoom in maybe a bit, see if that's a little bit better. Right, that way, because before I was out here in the middle of the table, it's better if you've got your arm tucked into your body, right, and you make your you know, more secure, more stable, is always better. Okay, so here we go. Right, so we're on the 1250. I prefer to actually do it, yeah. Hopefully you can see that. Right. Get back in the groove of it. So basically what you want to be doing is to know exactly when you're done properly on each grit. When you start to feel the blade not cutting into the sharpener anymore, okay, if you can feel it cutting in quite badly, or quite a lot, should I say, not badly, but if you can feel it cutting in quite a lot, then it's telling you that it's not sharp yet. It's not, well, I shouldn't say not sharp, I should just say not ready to stop working on that particular grit. Okay, so if it's cutting in quite a bit, that means you've still got to keep going, you know. And when you know when it's not cutting in anymore, like you can just feel it just sliding, doesn't matter of the grit to some degree, but as you feel it just starting to slide, that's when you know it's done. Obviously you can check it like what I was doing, and that's a good thing to do, because you're able to check to see if there's any nicks in the blade, or if it's grabbing and anything like that. Of course, on the more coarse sharpeners, like for instance the 325 in this instance, it is going to grab, because you're sort of leaving all these scratches and indentations on the actual blade, you know what I mean? The last few that you do, you want to just like start to make it lighter. It's feeling good. It's not. And part of this is not just feeling it, but listening to it. It's always good to get a last couple of good strokes in there that just feel right when you're finishing. Okay? Okay, let's try it out. Should I strop it? Let's just do it without the strop. Try it out. Let's get a piece of fresh piece here. Okay. Let's get my glasses out of the way. Okay, let's try this out. I might chuck my glasses on so it's a bit clearer. Alright, let's try this. go nice and slow. When you go slow, you can actually feel the feel if there's any imperfections in there, you know. Probably could do it a little bit more on the end here, but it was grabbing up on the end of the blade here. It was grabbing anyway. I can still feel it grabbing. But see, that's cutting through fine. In the middle here, it's fine. It's nice and sharp. Actually grabbing onto about 3 or 4 pages there. That's why it was getting a little hooked up. It's not too bad. Okay, that's all good. That's even without stropping. So let's give it a little bit of a strop. There's no cleaning compound on this piece of leather. You get better results with it. But if you're actually using, if this is a kitchen knife, you know, and you're using it for food, if you do use compound, cleaning compound, that's fine as long as you clean it off. Okay, same in the bush. If you're going to use a cleaning compound to really get a really sharp blade, you want to make sure you clean it off. To get a polished blade, you want to clean that polish off, because otherwise it's going to get in your food and you'll probably poison yourself or other people that are eating that food. Same for skinning. If you're skinning anything, I'd make sure the blade was clean. Clean blade, no chemicals or anything on it. And really you don't really need that anyway. So what we're doing here, we're just taking off the fine burrs, very fine burrs. Alright, see if I can find a bit of hair now. I don't know if this is going to cut. I mean, we'll see. Oh yeah. Yeah, she's cutting alright. I don't know if you can see the hair there. Okay, but she's you can see that she's razor sharp. I don't know if you can see that, but I'll blow it. Alright. So yeah, she's razor sharp. Bit easier doing it on the lower arm. Okay, oh, cut myself a little bit there. You be careful. It's easier, like I said, easier doing it on the lower arm, so I can see what I'm doing properly. But up here, not so much. Anyway, got to be careful. Sharp knife. Okay, so yeah, she's razor sharp. No problem with that. Oh yeah, she's razor sharp. Gave myself a little bit of a cut there. nothing too bad. Alright, so yeah, where is she? I don't even know where it went to. Where's the buck? It's probably fallen on the ground somewhere. I don't even know where we put it. Lost it somewhere. There it is. Okay, just roll down a bit. Okay, so the Buck Ultra sharpening rod, I love it. Okay, it'll certainly do the job for me. Alright, that's where I cut myself on the arm. You can see that. Okay, just nicked the arm. Probably not the best place to shave here, but you know. But hey, anyway, she works. She's sharp. She cuts. Okay. Hair popping hairs, or hair popping hairs, or whatever you want to call it. But this little baby works fine. 3 courses. Absolute dull knife when we first pulled this out. Had chips in it, quite a few actually. At least four major. Okay, and a few hang-ups as well on it as well. You know, like parts where it was just catching. And those nicks in it were at least, you know, I would say 1 millimetre in. Okay, they were quite nasty. So that's where that 325 will come into play. That 325 coarse grit. So if you nick your axe or knife or whatever on something, you need some kind of coarse on you to really get that out. And this little baby will do it. Okay, it saves time having to go and look for a rock or something like that. Yeah, I pull this up so you're not talking to my hand. Okay, where's my chair? Alright, so yeah, so doesn't take too long, and that's piping sharp. Okay, yeah, what more can I say? I could get this sharper for sure if I was using a compound on it. Spent a bit more time on it. Probably spent more time, I would say, on all 3 courses. I'd probably spend more time on it to get it sharper. But no, that's fine. That's sharp as. Okay, the proof is in the blood. All right. So I'd highly recommend it for $70 New Zealand dollars. Well worth it. So Top Gear New Zealand, North Shore. I would highly say get some more of these because good piece of equipment. This is my go-to sharpener. Okay, thanks for coming along. I hope you enjoyed. Hope you learnt some new things possibly. And I'm going to go away and do the sewing all on my sheath, so on my knife sheath, so that I can fit this into my knife sheath, and it will be handy at all times. I can just pull it out and sharpen up my knife when needed. Okay, take care, and I'll see you on the next video.